Hi, Karen Murphy with Pearson again. Our goal for this video is to share with you how to assign content with due dates and also within an availability range. The easiest place for you to assign content is under the assignment calendar. You can go ahead and click in the assignment calendar, and this is a good time to remember that this logo indicates it's an instructor-only view. So when your students click on assignment calendar, they will see the to-do completed, but they won't see this bottom item. We're going to click on the instructor assignment calendar. All of the content that's inside your CGS 1100 course has already been flagged as assigned. So it's important to know that your students can currently see, as soon as they register in the course, all of the content materials, including the assignments. But there are a couple of reasons that you might want to assign a due date. One, of course, is obvious. You have a due date and you want your students to submit the work by that time. But it will also indicate in the system when that due date has passed. Assign a 0 for those students who have not completed it. Without a due date, it will remain open. You'll notice that we have a calendar here on the right-hand side, and all of your assignments are on the left-hand side inside the folders that you saw previously in course materials. You can assign content on the assignment calendar by clicking and dragging an individual item or an entire category. So I could click and drag the entire Word folder and make it all due on August 19th if I wanted to. Or I can click into that folder and click and drag one chapter. Or, again, drilling down, I can click into individual activities that I want to assign. So I can open any number of activities. Let's say I want to assign this simulation and this grader project. You can also click here and click and drag, and those items will now appear as due on that date. When you click and drag items to the calendar, you'll notice that a clock appears here with the assignment date, and it'll also appear on the assignment calendar. From your student's view, they're going to see that same assignment calendar with clear notations regarding which assignments are coming due. So they have both the list, what they have not started, what they have not passed. Here's the due date, and here's the visual representation. It will also let them know when things are past due and when those items have been completed. Clicking back into the assignment calendar, it's important to note that, again, all of your assignments are currently open and available for students to complete. Now, those two assignments that I indicated have been given due dates, but those are the only two assignments. So please make sure that you go through and move either by chapter or by individual item, the items that you want to have a due date, into your assignment calendar. You may also want to include a start date. So again, everything is open and available. Theoretically, students could be working ahead. They could be working into Excel or Access when the class is still working on Word. And it's really a pedagogical question for you to ask in your classroom. Do you like that idea for students to have open-ended access to content? Or would you prefer to have a closed availability date? Some instructors like to have maybe a week or two worth of content open at a time so that students have to stay on target for what the rest of the class is working on. If you, in addition to assigning a due date, would also like to set availability, you're going to do that from this drop-down menu. So you're going to click on the caret next to the activity, and you're going to set scheduling options. When I click there, it's going to open a new window, and you'll notice it is assigned. I have already given it a due date, but I could also change that here if I wanted to. And it is, again, as a default, always available to students. If I want to set the availability range, I'm going to click on this radio button, and then I'm going to set the start date. So maybe I want students to be able to work on it starting on the 9th, and then I'm going to choose an end date. Now, the end date is different than the due date. The due date is the last date for which students will be able to record a score for this assignment. Some instructors like to make the end date different than the due date. So you might say it's going to be due on the 11th, But perhaps if you want to be a reflective student and go back and work through the project again after the due date, I'm going to go ahead and leave it open for you, but you won't be recording a score after that due date. Again, you can also not provide an end date. That would allow students to, for as long as the course is running, even if the due date has passed, open that assignment and again rework it. We also have some other options here. Always show items to students but prevent them from opening items before or after the due dates are listed. That means that they'll still see them in their course materials, but again, they just won't be able to go in and work on it. And then show availability notification on the calendar. We don't do that as a default. Our default is only to show when those assignments are due, but if you want to add that, you certainly can. Do make sure after you make those changes that you click Save. And it might be worth, of course, starting in the first few chapters at a time, the first few weeks of class, to make sure that you have your due dates established so that students have a clear indication of what work is coming next. In addition to showing the assignments due here on the calendar and on the student assignment calendar page, please note that when students click on To Do Completed, that will open up for students the activities that they still have to complete. Those same due dates will be reflected on that list. And so here, students have a clear view. Oops, lost my window there. Students have a clear view of when the items are due, as well as how many attempts are remaining for that given task. Good luck!